the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Commerce and representative of the Deputy Vice Chancellor of IBAM, the Honorable Professor Alfati, members of the Professorate of the University of Sierra Leone, our deans of faculties, heads of departments, our lecturers and staff, our distinguished partners, supporters of commerce and University of Sierra Leone, our students. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I first of all want to thank Commerce for now officially having me as a standing chairman. And it's quite remarkable. It appears as if I am the person to be chairing the event at Commerce, and I'm so happy for that because I have some of my best memories in the university at Commerce, serving as deputy registrar. I tell people that it is at Commerce that I was trained to be deputy registrar. And some will dispute that. But it's the experience that I gained at Commerce that helped me to surmount the challenges I faced at IBAM. 3 days after I was installed, because I was installed at IBAM, there was an explosion at IBAM, and that was not a very good start. But then thankfully, by the time I was leaving, it was a much more safe place. I'm so happy for that. Now at Freetown College, I hate to say it, but I call it a job. But then we have to do the job here, and thankfully we are trying with the support of all of our members of the senior management of the University of Sierra Leone. So today we are here for a very, very important occasion. It is not usual for us to have induction of postgraduate students. It's not. But this is called for because it's quite a unique time in the university and in the country. It is a time where we are talking about human capital development. And we are not only talking about developing the capital, we're looking at the quality and the essential capital to develop this country. So, as the Deputy Registrar said in his welcome address, Commerce started not too many years ago compared to Freetown College, which will be 200 years in less than 3 years' time. But Commerce has gone very, very far. And actually, this is not the first time we are having postgraduate students from Commerce. But this is the first time we are having this number of postgraduate students to go the extra mile, to do much more than the usual, which was good, but definitely has not been good enough. So I office of the College of Medicine and Allied Health Sciences. This is also a very big one because I remember in 2018 when it then made and the reliance on student fees. So the part of the challenge then was for us to see how we can zero in on our capacity for research. And that challenge was taken up by the university. And I believe it's time we hear the updates on how far we have come. Probably words will not be necessary, but then because we are here at this facility and we all can get a sense of what has been achieved, but it is good that we also hear the reports on quite a lot that cannot be seen physically at this place. So these are the two main purposes for this meeting, and we are quite set to go, and this one I have taken a long time in doing this opening. I'll go straight away to the program. I will reserve, in terms of the introduction, I'll just basically refer to the numbers to put everything in context. We'll have people who speak to the details. The number that we have is a total of 66 candidates, and we have 13 PhDs, we have 12 MPhils, and 23 Masters, and 18 MPH. So this is quite huge. We will all agree with me. So I'll stop here and go to the program for the very first statement, which will be reports, a progress report, like I said, the journey towards commerce and USF capacity building. We are now, ladies and gentlemen, going to hear from the person I call the patron of the College of Medicine and Allied Sciences, Professor Mohamed Samani.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Acting Vice Chancellor and Principal, University of Leone, Honorable Professor Dr. Alfa-Uri, please allow me to stand on the existing protocols in making my statement. On occasions like this, I would like to talk from the top of my head rather than from reading from the scripts, because I really want to tell the story as it is. Because normally when you write, there is tendency for you to miss things, and there is also tendency for people to misinterpret what you read from the scripts. So I want to talk from the top of my head. So I remember about 2 years ago when I came for interview at Commerce for enrollment into the program of medicine. Initially then as a student from the high school, I had no intention in medicine, but I was dragged into medicine by my dad. So when I came for the interview, deliberately I decided not to perform, so that I will not be given the opportunity to read medicine. I demonstrated then that if you really wanted to read medicine, you have to pass through the college. So I came in as a student, and in those days we were doing, after the first 3 years of the course, or 4 years, we were given a BSc, Ed Sciences. So after that program, I was invited by the administration, because at that time we had to rely on almost foreign lecturers to teach all the disciplines in medicine. We had very few local people teaching onto the courses. So everybody was either from Ghana or from Nigeria or from somewhere else. So having done the first degree, I was invited that because of your performance, because of what they saw in me that I really did not see, they asked me to step aside for 2 years and do a master's in pharmacology and therapeutics before continuing the medicine. So I really took that opportunity and did the master's. That was the beginning of capacity building in the college. But prior to that, some of our colleagues who were doctors were really invited to do that master's program, but they really did not conclude. So I came in, I did the master's, I completed, I went back, and I concluded the medicine. And when I graduated, I now decided, because from that time, when I was called upon to do the master's, I was immediately employed by the college. So I was a student, and I was also pursuing the master's. So even when I did the master's, I continued to lecture. So I started my teaching career as a lecturer from 1995, or was it 1994, 1995? Because I came in 89, and then 93 I graduated with the first degree, and then was called upon to read masters in 94, and immediately was recruited as a temporary teaching assistant. And then on graduation with the masters, I now continue with the clinical program. And then I was still teaching and reading for medicine. So I really started my teaching journey way back from 1994-95. When I graduated, I don't want to talk about the roles that I've played in the college. I went to the UK to do my PhD. And then I was even offered a job in the UK. When I was there, I was offered a job as a student. Because I remember when we were in class in the UK, my professor, the first thing he was amazed about is about the sort of knowledge that I exhibited when I was in my PhD. Because I told him when I was at Commerce, I had to teach all the topics, all the modules of pharmacology from A to Z. And he said it's not possible. So one day he was delivering a lecture on the thyroid gland and the thyroid hormones, and he was called for an emergency, and he left, and he told me to look after the undergraduate students. And then I just took the class up and delivered a very good lecture. So the next day he came, he wanted just to check, and all questions were answered by the students. And the following day I got an appointment. That was how I was enrolled. Then he now believed that it was not just on paper, that I can teach any topic at any time. So I was enrolled, and all the students, I was like their best lecturer, because at the UK, even the unit that I was doing my PhD in renal pharmacology, the professors will only go and teach renal. But then I will, apart from the renal cardiovascular pharmacology, I will almost teach everything, because that was how we were trained. So I came back. When I came back, I looked at the system, and I thought I had to give back to commerce. So I went back to the department, got all the papers work done in the university, and I was promoted to senior lecturer. And I served as head of department. And then 2013, I was to serve as provost of the college, active provost in 2013. Then I looked at the college, because when Professor Borisam was the active provost then, and he had to resign for some personal reasons. And I was busy going around talking to all our senior colleagues to take over the job, to take after Professor, because I was busy working in the faculty. I thought I needed to sort out the faculties instead of going to New England to serve as provost. But then none of them were prepared to serve as provost. None of them, because when the reality was the number of students were very limited. Almost 100% of them were on SLG at that time, and there was nothing coming in terms of funding through the system for even the normal operations of the college. So it was a difficult period. And before going to New England, I was involved in a lot of research activities, but those research activities were done outside. They expanded. So we started from that point. And I had a very strong collaborator from the Ministry of Health in the person of Dr. Taki. So we were also working in the Ministry of Health in the Directorate of Training and Research. And we looked at the system and we decided that, look, if we don't take proactive measures now to train younger colleagues, not just for commerce, but in the ministry itself, I mean, before long, we'll be because most of the colleagues, particularly in the ministry, were either close to retirement or they were retiring. So we took steps to ensure that we provided opportunities. We provided opportunities for younger colleagues to enroll. Where is the computer? Sorry about that. I think I will still, somebody from the college will still continue to flow. In spite of the interruption. So what we did then was to really look out for opportunities for young doctors. Initially, we have enrolled about 10 or 12 doctors for a master's stroke, a PhD within Poma. And then we said to ourselves that that will not solve our problem. Let's see how we can send these young doctors to go do membership or fellowship within the region and beyond. Some of them were sent to Kenya, some went to Nigeria, some went to Ghana, and as I speak now, these are the doctors that are really providing the much needed services in Israel. And even as we talk about medical postgraduate training, without them we cannot train. I want to acknowledge the contribution from colleagues from the sub-region, but you really needed homegrown people to be able to continue the training. So these are the guys that are providing specialized services in Israel. And we also took effort to train not just the doctors, we trained pharmacists. And this crop of pharmacists that we trained at master's level also took steps to do their fellowship. And these are the people that are running with the pharmacy profession in country. So the landscape of medicine and pharmacy has changed with the capacity that we built in these young guys. Unfortunately, during this period also, Ebola struck. And then there was a crisis. Then the health system was exposed. And most of these guys were in the sub-region undertaking their training. We didn't have the human resource, not just in terms of the clinical people or the pharmacy people. And then there was this space in lab. So that was a big problem. In fact, one of the things that really caused the Ebola to spread very rapidly was because when you were suspected of having Ebola, you were taken to an old center and samples were collected, and you had to wait for a number of days, maybe 3 to 5 days before your results were out. So if you were positive, what will happen is that those who were at the old center who came in negative, they were just suspected cases, you spread the Ebola to them before they are discharged. So that really was responsible for the rapid spread of the Ebola. And then we took steps together with Prof. Ajawuri to train people in the diagnostic molecular biology that was needed to really be able to increase or reduce the turnaround time for Ebola. So we contributed in that direction also. And then I had the opportunity also to have a relationship with Peter Piot. Peter Piot was the person who really discovered the virus. So we are working on a big project which we call Ibovac. But before that came into being, I was also dragged into working with CDC on another project, still on Ebola, and that project was Strive. So that was the beginning. So, and we use Strive as a project to train our people in terms of clinical trials and good research practice. So before IBOVAC now came, we had the capacity, we had some capacity to be able to do clinical trial. So with Strive, we acquired a lot of things. I work with the CDC, and through that effort, the office that I currently sit at New England was built through the CDC Foundation for the conduct of the trial. And that is where I currently operate from. And with also the aid of CDC, we had to, this building was almost a dilapidated building. So we used the resources that we got from the Strive study to be able to renovate this and also to equip this building. Because what we realized over time is that yes, we have trained a lot of people to be able to attract research grants, but the attraction of research grants is not enough. You need to have a system where you can manage the grants. So we have built capacity, and we did not want those people that we've trained to just go away. So we decided to create a space for them which can house them so that they will be able to sort of provide the much needed support which faculty will require for grant writing. So you can have all the technical ideas to put together for the application of your grant, but then there are non-technical things that you cannot do yourself. You need the support of a group of people. So this place is established really to house those people, so that if somebody wants to put together a grant proposal, yes, you have the knowledge, but then the other components will be supported through people working in this office. And I also want to say that with our work with Strive and IBOVAC on two separate vaccines, the data that we generated was accepted by FDA in the US and AMA in Europe, and that has led to the licensure of those vaccines, so that should Ebola struck, those vaccines now will be deployed, for example, for protection. And also, as a college, we are also subjected to audit by FDA. You know, when you conduct a large clinical trial, before the data is really accepted, FDA will have to come and audit. And we went through that audit successfully. And a lot of clinical trial sites will fail those audits. And therefore, your work will not be worthy for licensure. But we passed conveniently, effortlessly, because of the trainings that we have. So having said that, having trained young colleagues now to be able to conduct research and also to attract funds, over time we have been able to attract a lot of research funds in commerce. The interesting thing is people in the university and people outside, we want to assume that what we do, we just sit as faculty and research grants just come from the sky and fall on your feet and they say run with it. Because I begin to imagine when people begin to say we have, what are you doing with the university research project? So I asked them, what is your definition of university research project? So if the university has gone out to bring a research grant and they give it to you to run, that is university research project. But if individuals use their time, they look for collaborators and they do all what it takes to attract. What we can do is to encourage them to see how we can harness that capacity so that others can be able to do likewise and not to begin to hunt them. So that is unfortunate as it is. However, as a college, we are determined to move along with it, because I know in the universities, even before our days, people will apply for research grants, they get their grants, they personalize the grants, and they use those grants, they deliver, and they give report, and that's it. But we as a college, we've decided to bring everything together under one umbrella. And we've even decided to put together policies guiding not just the operation of the research, but also guiding the management of the funds that we bring together. Because these funds are going to be audited. We've just successfully gone through 2 audits by the European Commission. We are audited by a firm from the UK in 2019. Just recently, we also successfully were audited by a firm from Brussels. And we were not found wanting in any of those audits. Rather, the funders were the ones that have to give us monies in terms of what we did not claim for. But then, bringing research grants to the university is one side. You don't just want to bring grants and you deliver on what you said you are going to do, and then you send reports, and then you are done. What happens next? So what we did as a college, we now came together and we said we have to take this opportunity to make use of these grants to train younger colleagues. So that's what we've been doing. So before now, even before this course, we have supported the training of colleagues in master's and PhD levels. Before now, what we've been doing with the research grant or with the collaborators, we put in the research grant, for example, training of students at master's or PhD levels. But because we did not have the capacity on ground, what we used to do was to allow the collaborator to assist us train our colleagues in masters and PhD. We've trained a couple of masters and PhD out of commerce by our collaborators. None of them came back because on completion of their training, they were given opportunities and they have to take make use of those opportunities. So we've taken one step backwards to say this procedure is not going to solve our problem. Because what we want to do, we want to train people who can eventually take over us to ensure that there is continuity in what we do. So that is why we decided now deliberately to say we have to start our own PhD or master's training. We have 13 PhDs here. 4 just completed. We have 13 enrolled because they are first year. Let me appreciate the work done by Harvard through Broad Institute. In some of the modules, right? And also we're taking steps to enroll some in MM. Those patients. We have Mastership here as a good example. We went to Mastership the other day. They fly in specialists from abroad to come and do complicated surgeries and they leave. But then if they ensure that they have a good nursing team to be able to look after those patients. In the absence of that, there will be no work done. So what we've done in nursing is to really look at the whole nursing program within the country. We've worked with the Ministry of Health through the Office of the Chief Nursing Officer and the Nurses Board. We've looked at the program, personnel at postgraduate level. But we have packaged now a master's program for nurses such that it is a combination of academia and clinical. So by the time you graduate with your master's, you are almost at the level like somebody who has done a fellowship in nursing. So we now have a master's in neonatal nursing. We have a master's program in pediatric nursing. So we have 10 students enrolled for a master's in neonatal nursing. And these students were supported by Project Hope. The fees were paid by Project Hope, and everything is being funded except for upkeep by Project Hope. But then we as a college, we took one step backwards. That yes, we have a program at bachelor's level in neonatal and pediatric nursing. Now we have a program at master's level in neonatal nursing. So should we protect the neonates, and the neonate moves to the pediatric age group, and we don't build capacity to be able to protect them, what will happen? They will die at that stage. Because the bulk of the infant mortality is really occurring in the neonatal period. So if we supported that and we ignore the pediatric age group, then they will move to that age group and they will eventually die. So that's why as a college, we also now decided that yes, Project Hope, you've come in, you've supported 10. So we as a college, we also decided that we are going to recruit or enroll 10 nurses for masters in pediatric nursing, and we pay on their behalf. We pay the fees for them, and just to complement the work of Project Hope. If somebody came from outside to support one arm of your training, and you say you have to wait until you get supported, they are not doing justice to the system. As I speak, we've also acquired funding through the Ministry of Health as part of the World Bank grant to develop a curriculum in masters in medical surgical nursing. And that ASAP. And not just that, a master's in midwifery and obstetric nursing. Wow. So those funding have been secured. We've also secured funding through the World Bank, through the ministry, from the World Bank, to do a curriculum in dentistry. I tell people that as a country, we are observing what we call a quiet emergency in dentistry. If you look at the population of 8 million, we do have up to 5 dentists in the public sector. We do have up to 3 or 4 dentists in the private sector. So if you put everything together, we do have up to 10 dentists in Sierra Leone. So what that means is that for a population of 8 million, we are just looking at most 10 dentists. So if we don't take steps to train dentists before long, that will also cause a lot of problems. Because people will look at the teeth as just something in the mouth. But then the tooth is connected to a lot of things. If you need an extraction of your tooth and it becomes infected, for example, it can lead you to a lot of complications, including cardiovascular or neurological complications. So the body does not work in isolation. So even when we talk of maternal mortality, you can have a mother with a tooth problem that can lead to maternal death. So if you don't look at the patient holistically and you begin to segregate, this is maternal and this is infant, blah, 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 you don't look at the system holistically, then there is a problem. So that is why we have taken steps now to secure funding through the World Bank to develop a curriculum in dentistry. So there is a lot of work going on the background in terms of curriculum development. So we have curricula, that all of our curricula in the college has been revised to meet national demands. So we are not just training for training's sake, we are training so that they meet the requirements of the nation. And also we have introduced a lot of programs. And very recently also we had to support the Gambia in terms of curriculum development and policy development. So we went to the Gambia to contribute to their system. And they were so grateful. And when we were in Gambia, for example, by the time I presented, it was like the Gambians thought that this man is not coming from Sierra Leone. But then I tell people that even in the Bible, Jesus was not honored where he lived. So I'm not surprised. You do all of this, but people don't acknowledge what you do. But then it's fine. You are not doing it for people to acknowledge. You are doing it to create impact to church lives. Yeah. So in terms of curricula, we have done a lot of things, and in terms of infrastructure, you know, we started when we came to Comas. We were about, my class was not more than 12. We used to graduate students 10, 12, 15. Now when we do our swearing ceremony and graduation, we are talking about hundreds of students. Yeah. So the same infrastructure that we inherited are the same ones that we were expected to be using to train this explosion of students. But we have taken steps through the research grants, to renovate periodically, either on a yearly basis or at worst, every 2 years, to renovate our limited facilities so that they always look good, so that we don't allow them to deteriorate. And also, we've taken steps to construct classrooms. So we constructed at least 10 classrooms. So if you went to the Faculty of Nursing, we've put up 2 big classrooms on top of the admin building, and there's a whole structure at the back of the hostel. That structure, you will see beneath it there is an amphitheater. So there is an amphitheater which can accommodate up to 600 to 700 people. It can sit up to 600 to 700. And we constructed 10 classrooms. And those classrooms can accommodate now about 1,300 to 1,500 students. And through the Ministry of Health again, from the large anonymous donor grant, we also secure funding to construct a Faculty of Basic Medical block at Kosota. And that project was launched recently, and as I speak, there is work ongoing at Kosota to put up that structure. And we are still looking out for opportunities to put up faculty blocks at Kosota. I know when Prof. Uri was minister, we started the discussion of how can we, as a college, inherit back the Joy Hospital. You know, when the Joy Hospital project came, it was really meant to be a teaching hospital for the medical school. But then unfortunately along the line there was politics. And the minister then who was in the Ministry of Health now decided that the ministry do not have enough facilities, so they cannot let go that facility. So it's still with the ministry. But with this explosion of students that we are getting year in, year out, we really need a facility that we can call ours, that we can really upgrade and make it fit for purpose in terms of teaching, so that we can use it to showcase what we do at Comas. And because of the proximity, in fact, not proximity, because it is in our land. Yes. It's not in close proximity. It's really built on our land. Yeah. So we don't want at the end of the day to tell the ministry that come and take your hospital from our land. So we want a situation where we can use Prof. Alpha Uri to continue to negotiate and advocate for us to see how we can get back that hospital so that we can use it for teaching purposes. So those infrastructure things are ongoing. So this facility was also renovated and equipped. I want to appreciate CDC and ICAP, and I also want to appreciate the University of Kobe, because through one of the capacity grants that we have, we were able to put a server in here so that we have control at the back end, so we do our things in here, etc. So there is a lot going on in this building. as a college, we have also decided not to be over dependent on the ethics committee of the Ministry of Health. The ministry has a national ethics committee. So what we've done also, we've established an ethics committee within the college. So that ethics committee, normally when the undergraduate students are undertaking their dissertation, when they come in to defend their dissertation, they sit in the meetings and they approve there and then because the numbers are large. So they cannot go approving each of the undergraduate projects. But then for postgraduate projects, all of the postgraduate projects will have to pass through our ethics committee. And even the research grants that we attract, before they go to the National Ethics Board, they also have to submit through our ethics committee. So that ethics committee is up and running and it's being headed by Dr. Ben. And we have also looked at a lot of issues around us as a college, and we've decided to form small research groups looking at things. So if you can see this, we have, for example, a group responsible for clinical trials and implementation research. We have a group that is responsible for malaria, HIV, and TB, for example. We have a group responsible for health system research. We have a group that looks at health security, including climate change, emerging and reimaging infectious diseases. We have a group for global health research. There is a group on molecular biology, genomics, and bioinformatics. We have a group looking at NTD and hepatitis, NCDs, antibiotics, stewardship, and then maternal and child health. So the important thing is that when there are calls for proposals outside, if the call is on maternal and child health, then we expect this group to take the lead. So they take the lead in terms of writing those proposals, and then all of us will come around and support, and the research support office will also support them in terms of the non-technical information that will be needed for them to do a successful submission. So that is why these groups are formed. Yeah. In addition to this group, we now know that there is a policy for postgraduate training. We supported the School of Postgraduate heavily to ensure that we have a policy because we needed a soft landing for our students. So we needed a situation where there are policies and guidelines that they will have to go through to successfully conclude their program. So part of the policy is that a college graduate committee should be formed. So this is the composition of a college graduate committee, and they have done a fantastic job. They've ensured that they review all of these the proposals from these students. Those that were not successful are not part of these students. So what we've decided to do as a college, we have 13 PhDs now. So for each of the faculties, we've recruited demonstrators. This is the equivalent of a temporary teaching assistant in our college. We don't call them TTAs. So we have demonstrators. These are people that we train at master's level. So by the time this cohort of PhD students will be in their final year, then we will enroll another cohort. So because they need 2 years to complete their masters. So by the time they conclude their masters, these cohorts will be in their final year, and then they will now have opportunity to be enrolled in the first year. Because we don't have the capacity to take yearly students, we want to ensure that what we have now, we move them to the next level before we bring on board another cohort. And also, we have reached out to partners. So we have a lot of collaborators in and outside of Sierra Leone, serving as either part of the supervisory team or part of an advisory team. As part of the policy is that you have, as a student, you have a supervisory team and you have an advisory team. So we have colleagues outside who are either part of the supervisory or part of the or advisory team. So the list goes on and on. So recently also we put together a mentorship frame, because one of the things that is lacking in country is mentorship. Mentorship is lacking. So we put together a mentorship scheme. So that mentorship scheme is designed such that we have senior colleagues, senior faculty providing mentorship for junior faculty, and then the junior faculty in turn will provide mentorship for senior students. Because if you look at the programs that we run, particularly in medicine, if you are enrolled in medicine, by the time you do 1 or 2 year foundation program, and then you do the 6 years of the medical training, it means that you will spend at least 7 to 8 years reading medicine. So by the time you are in the clinical faculty, you will have spent like 4 to 5 years. So if we are doing the sciences at Freetown College or somewhere else, you must have been doing now your masters. So these are senior students. So the junior faculty will provide mentorship for them, and we expect these senior students in turn to provide mentorship for incoming students. And REBA will pair them up with senior faculty to ensure that the work is being done well. So that scheme also is up and running. So I think I've gone through all of what I should go through. So let me just appreciate you and let me congratulate colleagues who have worked very hard to reach at this stage. And let me assure you that you are not in this alone. We are with you, and we will ensure that we take it to the next level. Before now, what we used to do as a college, if a faculty is enrolled in a PhD, we provide resources for them to undertake their research. We also provide resources for them to support their extra charges, and we provide resources even if they have to travel abroad to do their lab work. We also do that. So we ensure that colleagues that have been enrolled will ensure that we provide all of the support needed to take. Let me at this point appreciate you. We have on record the list of research that we do now, the list of the research portfolio. We have very limited research portfolio because I don't know, people assume that these projects will come and they are forever. They are not forever. And we just this year who have participated in the submission of well over 10 proposals for funding. We have only been successful in having one. So you do this work and then things happen. Let me look at the list. Let me just the list of the portfolio, the research portfolio. So currently we have very limited research portfolio. We have ICARIA. ICARIA is really looking at child health. We are using what we call SP. You know, the way the system is designed for protection of infants against malaria. We do give them what we call FANCIDA, but we call it SP. So normally we give them about 3 or so doses in their first year of age. So ICARIA is looking at providing an additional tool. There is a drug called azithromycin, which is being used for pneumonia and other bacterial infection, and it has been documented that it can also protect against malaria, and in addition, it can protect against gastrointestinal infection. So that is a study that is ongoing. There is a lot of things. So we have multiply. So some of these are ongoing. Multiply, we are on a no-cost extension. Pre-sale is a capacity building one. We have HPV. Macan is a capacity building grant. WHO is looking at COVID vaccine. We've concluded, but we are on a low-cost extension. Pre-back up is also Ebola. So we are far away from Ebola, but we are still following up the immunogenicity of the vaccine over time. We want to know how long the immunity will last. So that is what we do in pre-back up. And then there is another one. So these are all, the WOW support is really for the PhD and master students, and Harvard is also supporting some of our PhD and master students. So let me thank you very much, and let me also say that as a college we have acquired 20-acre piece of land in Cambia where we work. We are looking at it. We are looking at really establishing a research center in Cambia. So we are working with partners and we are looking at opportunities to apply for a grant to really construct or put structures in Cambia so that it becomes a research center. We want to replicate what they have in Gambia, which is the MRC. So that is our dream. That is what we are looking at. So thank you very much.
We have had the story. I believe it's going to summarize the facts. So maybe we'll have other opportunities to get more details. Thank you very much. I was afraid when he was interrupted that probably he was just going to say that's the end of the story. He addressed the story of the government rep who went to open the bridge. But then his note, of course, was prepared for him. By the time he started reading, then the wind came and just blew the note away. So there was nothing for him to say, he just had to clear the bridge open. But Professor Sama is the professor, definitely. Thank you very much. But we are going to amend the program. If I just have physical was to give you, he has an appointment anytime from now. But before that, we want to have the presentation from, I have to calibrate correctly. It's Mrs. It's Aja first. Yes. Aja, Mrs. Professor now, Aisata Mui.
Vice Chancellor, Acting Vice Chancellor of this Dean School of Postgraduate, DVC Commerce, colleague deans, but the number one is my professor. I welcome you all this morning. Mine is going to be very short, sir, because I know you have an appointment, but I'm going to go to the point to talk about the collaboration. To arrive at this point where we have all the partners here to see how did we get to this picture and how did we get to this stage. So first of all, this process. It all started in 2021 when I met Professor Samai, and he floated his idea of wanting to build capacity to ensure that we have faculty members to continue the process and ensure that we have a sustainable lecturers and faculty to continue with the course. So in 2021 we started the capacity building collaboration, writing concept notes and reaching out to partners. And then it started off. Our first respondent was the Broad. We reached out to the Broad, and I think I was nicknamed Mama Bear to talk about I don't think we should go about workshop, but our mantra should be to ensure that this workshop, a capacity building workshop, and it is accredited and certified, so that the outcome of the workshop means something in terms of career development. So I frowned upon the workshop. I said, translate those ones into courses that are beneficial to the career progression of each of the scientists. So in 2021, we started the commerce capacity building with the Broad Institute. We floated the idea out and interviewed a series of potential candidates who came on board to present their concept, present their hypotheses, and based on that, they were selected by a panel. Next slide. And the panel were these ones. This was just an example started in 2021. All of these were instrumental in ensuring that the panel that we do our selection. All of these were people that were there, we vetted, we marked, and we ensured that the students are fit for postgraduate. Next slide. There is again soliciting more to partners, writing concept notes, writing projects to ensure that they respond to. Some did not. But then we had a robust team, the DVC leading it and ensure that we reach out. But we also have the SAFO here, Mrs. Lansana, reaching out to ensure the funds are landed. Next. Then the Broad came on board, and the Broad had funding, and that funding went through SG, the African Center for Genomics. The African Center for Genomics before now had a workshop that they were conducting annually between Commerce and FBC. But then in that workshop, the year they were going to come, I stopped that workshop to say, it is not about workshop. And I was frowned upon by many of the workshop attendants. I say, if we continue to attend workshop, what's the meaning of the outcome of the workshop? So that was translated instead to have 2 students to go over and do the MPhil in genomics. We had Alan Campbell and Julian Campbell, leading masters to PhD at the African Center. The second was Samuel Sori, ensuring he's here, ensuring that we have reaching out to the Irish embassy so that we have scholarship for laboratory medicine. Samuel Sori went in and came back as a scholar, top scholar in Trinity College, Ireland, in immunology. Now we have one that is completed, Emmanuel Sandi, in clinical diagnostics. That's because we're moving to precision medicine, and we have Dr. Musa Beshi, who's continuing and completing this year. So we have this 5 to start with. This is it 5, 2, 4, 5. 5 to start with, but that's not enough. And these are new areas. And thanks to the leadership then, they felt that the need to meet the demand in health was to create a faculty, was to activate a faculty of laboratory diagnostics and medicine and diagnostics. That started off. And that was the concept that we sent out to be. We sent it to a great lady. I mean, women does it best. A great lady to the Broad Institute, Professor Paddy Sabiti. And to Professor Paddy Sabiti ensured that she used all her team. And I wish to thank the Broad MIT to have a team here. Virginia, Dr. Haida is here, and also Dr. Maria Tupe, they're here representing the Broad. And so these were the team, all the teams that came on board to develop a curriculum. But however, to start that one again, I need to thank the School of Postgraduate, because we asked all these seats to be sent so that it can be vetted by the School of Postgraduate to see if they are capable or they are allowed or to run the course in Sierra Leone. The next one. So the Institute came on board and supported. So now what they did was to support the courses that was of interest, to look at non-malaria febrile illnesses, to look at viral respiratory viruses, and also to look at our data too. These are projects that are given to students. So this is for PhD and a master's and another master's that the Broad is supporting. Next slide. And these are we have one of the strongest genomics and molecular team in Sierra Leone. We have the genomics team that looks at metagenomics, SARS-CoV, HIV, HPV, and gene expression. So we have that team here, and we know that Commerce is ready to support Sierra Leone in terms of any viral outbreak. The next came to defend Tuwahu. We did not have enough, we had 5, so that's 5 in the box. Next came to defend Tuwahu. That is the development of the concept to say we want capacity for this faculty. And it was a back and forth, defended by myself and the DVC to have the concept note approved and sent to WAU to say capacity building, but they wanted to know why, how, and the continuity. And so based on that, WAU was, without looking at the project, without dictating any project, they were able to support 10 postgraduates. So now WAU is supporting 5 postgraduates. And this is what WAU is supporting. Viral project, blood cell project, drug of abuse and cardiac, and antimicrobial resistance. So this is the 10 it's been supported project by each of these students available. So they're fully funded by WOW and also by the Broad. When I say fully funded, that means the fees, the bench fee, the communication computer, the travels, the stipend, and all of that. And the next stage was to develop, to bring them all on board to ensure that they're fit for postgraduate. That is to develop a core module out of the curriculum. And that core module were now supported. They started research project, epidemiology, biostatistics, and bioinformatics, supported by the Broad and today. And these were courses, 2 of them were supported in countries. They came on board and we took them to Sweet Bow to have their project done. But the point is that that Sweet Bow, they were doing 24/7 work. They did not have, it was not sweet for them at that point. The next one. And this is how it was done. It was competency based, they're examinable, and their research paper was sent. So it is not a workshop, but it is a 15-hour, 1 single credit hour and 45 hours of practical work. So that's how it was tuned to. Next slide. Then now we have the postgraduate support, those who supported it. Those who are part and parcel of this to navigate and show the student the path. Professor Samai, Professor Ronnie Williams, Professor Sagivao, myself, Professor James Russell, Dr. Bao, Abdul Karim Bawa, Isaac Small, A.U. Njai, Professor Dudu Yemi, Dr. Idem Hota, Professor Kainde Oluwadia, the most dreaded one in the defense. Professor Adediji, Dr. Eze, George Eze, and Professor G. Fadludi. And to coordinate it, we have Dr. Mohamed Gwetua, Mama Gwetua, Jeremiah Hadi, and Mrs. Koju Lansana. These students went through these courses, and after these courses, put through the rigors of defense. And based on the defense, the postgraduates will talk about it, because some students, it's based on your performance, whether you're allowed for PhD, Master's, MPhil, or just ordinary diploma. Next one. The collaboration. Next. So now we reached out also locally, to colleagues locally. Professor Mariam O. Sanko, Mary Hodges, Dr. S. Kanu, Dr. Esther, and Dr. Udu. So these are all colleagues from the University of Makeni, EBK University, UNEMTech, and Jala that are supporting this student. And then we reach out international. The most surprising thing is for the international people to say, we cannot give you funding, but we are going to give you an in-kind. That is, support your lectureship, support you in terms of supervising the student. And they've been wonderful in terms, and they've been doing the due diligence with the student. Thank you again to the School of Postgraduates. All their CVs were vetted first before they were accepted. Right throughout, all these colleagues that are supporting have their CVs sent, vetted, sent through the School of Postgraduates, through register, and they were given a gratis letter. Next one. This is for, okay, yeah. This is the Nigeria Institute of Medical Research. Again, they came on board to support. In fact, they supported as low as graduate students to have it at internship, and they are willing and prepared for internship.
Good morning to you all, and I kindly ask that I stand on the existing protocols so that the greetings don't get too long. But in any way, I should still recognize a few people. The DVC, Professor Samai, I would say it's been a phenomenal journey for him. I don't want to be in his shoes because to help transform an entire college and bring it up to standard, it's not an easy undertaking. So to that, I say thank you, and I really, really appreciate you for what you have done. Your team, professors and lecturers who have supported you over the years, I really want to appreciate you as well. Because for me, I believe in collaboration. This is not a job that a single person can undertake. If he did not get the support that he needed, there was just no way he was going to deliver. But with your support, he has been able to really take this institution from very humble beginnings, to where it is today. And I would say we are proud of you as well. Professor Isaac Willie, for me, she and I met at one time. She visited my lab at Chala University and went through, I really appreciated that visit. And since I came back I was whisked from, Chala University and sent over to the University of Sierra Leone. I've appreciated working with you, and I really want to thank you for kind support. Of course, our Honorable Minister, it's been a long journey for him as well, Professor Wuri. I want to say, your presence here really signifies something very, very important. And I want to say we appreciate you for all that you have done over the years, the support you've given indirectly to the university. Those are very, very encouraging. Thank you for that. I want to appreciate my Dean for Postgraduate, because when these young folks who are sitting here trying to ascend to a higher level, certainly it cannot be done without your, support. You have really done a very good job, and I appreciate you as well. So please keep it up, give the support whenever it is required of you, so that we can see a lot more of these young people rising up. For me, I believe in research. All my years have been in research. Honestly, I was trained as a botanist. I started looking for plants in very difficult areas. I go to waterfalls where if you slip and fall, you are falling to your death. But it was in those places that I discovered new plant species. Some of them have been named after me, some we are here to describe. So that's the way my life was structured. But then being an ecologist and having the wildlife background as well, because I trained at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. I have a PhD in forest and wildlife ecology. So just after the Ebola, CDC approached me and wanted to do something about the source of the virus, the Ebola virus. So they came to me, we went all over the country searching for suitable places where people were intimately interacting with wildlife. So from 2016 to date, I've been busy searching for the Ebola virus. When I started, colleagues, Professor Auguste put a team together, and colleagues at the university said, we are not going to join you to your death. So I stayed on, but we have not seen the virus yet, but we saw another one, which is equally deadly, and that is the Marburg virus. We were able to isolate that in bats in the Moyamba district and part of Common district as well. And that was published in Nature Communication. Recently, another virus, the Susuga virus. This is the South Sudan Uganda virus. We also isolated that in bats, again in the Moyamba district. We have published that in Virus, so you can check it out. So research for me is very important. When you are being trained to ascend to that level, I want you to give it all of your commitment. It's something you have sleepless nights. And years after you finish, those sleepless nights are going to continue. There are times I wake up at, I go to bed 10 o'clock and then I wake up at 2 in the morning and the sleep does not come anymore. Because when I was doing my PhD, that was how I structured my life. Those morning hours were the productive hours for me. But then they have stuck with me and they have made my life very, very uncomfortable. I hope you don't fall victim to that. But take this seriously. professors here, some of the collaborators now have really supported this initiative, are here to make you better people. Our country is out you. Some of us will go out, we study, and what happens? We end up staying there. We never come back to give the support to this nation. If I had stayed in the US, where I was trained, I don't think I would have produced a lot of PhD staff members at university. And a lot of these people are today gainfully employed. They are helping this country move forward. So that responsibility is going to fall on you in the near future. And I don't want you to renege on it. It's very important for us to move our country forward. You are the next generation that will rise to the occasion to create all sort of possibilities. When Professor Isaac Owuri went through the list of things that are now possible to do in this country, honestly, I'm amazed at what she has been able to amass in that laboratory. Such capacity, you know, in my days never existed. So you are the lucky few. Commerce has done a phenomenal job to support you, to rise, and don't let us down. Give it all of your best. I want to say, Professor Samai, that I'm really proud to be here today. It's just that I have another engagement. Oftentimes, you know, being in my position, some engagements come, you have no control over. I have to be there because it comes from higher authorities. So in a way, that is why my program was brought forward. I would have loved to stay and really see how the entire program would have progressed. But unfortunately, I have to leave. But I want to say I thank you all for being here, and I really want this facility, honestly, you know, we at university, we don't always have the money to do a lot of the things that we would want to do. I see a lot of dilapidated buildings, you know, when I go to Furabe College. I see unfinished buildings. I see overcrowded facilities for students. You know, we don't have it because the resources are not there. We often underestimate what humble beginnings can bring. This is one such humble beginning. We don't even know if any of you someday will come back and support us. 2 days ago, I was talking to some lawyers. You know, we have just launched our Master of Laws and Letters. And those students, a lot of them were past students of Freetown College. After I finished talking to them, 2 of them who are magistrates came and met me and said, "You are a very blunt person. You say everything to your heart." Because what I told them was, I know when you were students here, sometimes you pay your fees or extra charges, and we don't deliver on those extra charges for which you pay for those services. You pay for ID cards, sometimes you finish, you never get ID cards. You pay for internet, we don't provide you internet. You pay for sports, and we seldom accomplish that. So I told them you hold grudges against us for those things that we should have provided you. And some of you have left this institution and decided never to come back and never even give your support to this institution. But if you don't, how do you expect your very alma mater to continue to grow? So that is my message to you today. We might have hurt you, we might have said things to you that will not make you happy, and you feel like you don't even want to when you finish. You won't do anything with us again. But I'm appealing to you, look deep down. have a forgiving spirit, and come back to support your alma mater. So, in that regard, I really want to, I don't know what, yes, I was going to talk to your presence, like I said, and the presence of all of those that are here, honestly, with the facility that has been provided for us to meet here today, for me, will go in history. This facility is going to be dedicated as a research support office. And those of us who are in research, we know the rigors that we go through. If you don't have the support system, you almost tend to do everything. You are the person that will do the budget. You are the person that will do the procurement. You are the person that will do the report writing. And almost the logistics, everything that goes around research. But with such a facility, you can come and get the blessings of those who have gone through it, and they can give you the support and make things work. Let us not underestimate the value that this office is going to provide.